live in a small village with my daughter, and earlier this year we went through one of the hardest times I can remember. I'd been working, but my job changed me over to a 0 hours contract. It just wasn't sustainable, so I made the difficult decision to leave. Because I left voluntarily, my universal credit payments were reduced, which made things even tougher. I did manage to find a new job, but I had to wait several weeks for my DBS check to come through before I could start. That gap hit us really hard. My last universal credit payment was just before Christmas, and because I didn't start work until the end of January, I wasn't due to be paid until mid-February. During that time, I completely ran out of money. I couldn't even afford the fuel to get to work. It's a 35-mile round trip, and I was doing that three or four times a week. I tried everything I could think of. I asked my new employer for an advance, but they weren't able to offer one. I applied to the job centre's flexible support fund, but got turned down. There was just nothing available. There were no buses that could get me to work on time either. So in the end, I had to borrow money from friends and even some new colleagues just to get by. It was really humiliating, really. I barely knew some of them, and I hated having to ask, but I didn't see any other way. Everything seemed to hit at once. The car started playing up. We had no heating because I couldn't afford coal, and I didn't qualify for any help with it. I was doing everything I could to hold things together, but it just felt like one thing after another. And the worst part was the impact on my daughter. There were days she missed school because I couldn't afford the fuel to get her there, and even if I could, I didn't have anything to send her with for lunch. She's not eligible for free school meals, so unless I could provide something, she'd go hungry. And as a dad, that was the hardest part. No matter how hard I tried, I felt like I was failing her. It just all felt so overwhelming. I'd been in touch with the food bank before, but this time felt different. I was completely out of my depth. I remember just breaking down in tears on the phone. I couldn't see a way forward. I'd done everything I could think of, and it still wasn't enough. And that's when they put me in touch with Ellie, their outreach support worker. She listened without judgment, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like someone really understood what I was going through. She didn't just offer sympathy, she helped me come up with a plan. Ellie arranged to meet me at a petrol station during one of my lunch breaks to help me top up my car with fuel so I could keep getting to work. She also gave me an emergency shopping voucher so I could buy packed lunch items for my daughter and made sure we had food parcels to get us through. When I explained we had no heating, she looked into every possible route. I don't qualify for support from the household support fund because my home runs on coal and I don't have a prepayment meter. I also can't burn wood, so I wasn't eligible for the log bank either. In the end, they arranged for 10 bags of ovoid fuel to be delivered to my home, and that honestly got us through the worst of the winter. That immediate support meant everything. It kept me going long enough to get to my first payday, but it also made a difference longer term. I didn't lose the job I'd fought so hard to get. I honestly don't know what I would have done if I'd lost my job. It doesn't bear thinking about, really. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like I was drowning. I'd been trying to manage everything on my own and it was just too much. I'd spent weeks feeling ashamed, overwhelmed, like I was failing as a dad. But having someone there who could actually help, who could take some of the pressure off, meant I could finally think straight again. It gave me a bit of control back when everything had felt completely out of my hands.